we have to wonder about Justin Fields. Now, let's be clear. He was not 100% last night. That hit from Skelski in the college football playoff that got him ejected for targeting on Justin Fields. We all understand that Justin Fields was not 100%. We all understand that we saw a stud last year. That what did he do the previous year? 41 touchdowns, I think it was. 41 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. We get all of that. And he played in 14 games. This year, obviously, with things up in the air because of COVID and what have you, only played 8 games, had 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Game against Indiana, he wasn't that impressive. Game against Northwestern, he wasn't deemed that impressive. You have critics looking at him right now, questioning to some degree his accuracy. Again, I haven't seen much of Justin Fields. I know that he's a stud athlete. I know that he can move the chains. I know that he can make things happen. At one point in time, I remember being on this show and asking those college football aficionados, how close is it between him and Trevor Lawrence? And religiously, they all said it wasn't even close. Trevor Lawrence was on another level compared to this guy, even though he clearly outplayed Trevor Lawrence in that college football playoff matchup against Clemson. Ultimately, what it comes down to is this. On the NFL level, we're looking at the Lamar Jacksons of the world and stuff like that. And you got to ask yourself a question. If you're kind of suspect throwing the football, but you're an electrifying athlete with electrifying wheels, that would be one thing. I haven't seen the second coming of Lamar Jackson. I haven't seen anybody at the quarterback position that can run the football the way that brother can run the football. Even though you got cats that can move, they've got some wheels on them. Now we got to get to the throwing. And how good is it going to be? How tall are you? Can you see over opposing defensive linemen coming your way with offensive linemen that are tall, blocking for you and stuff? That vision, that kind of stuff comes into play. I just think right now when we're looking at Justin Fields, if you know how Max, you know how Mel Kiper and Todd McShay and others, as thorough as they are, you can pick apart a game, 2 games, 3 games, and say, hey, we saw this, and that's a red flag for us. It remains to be seen what is out on Justin Fields right now. But I think the fact that it's a question mark, we can't definitively say after last night, Max, that you're going to look at Justin Fields and automatically say he will be the second quarterback taking in this upcoming NFL draft. We can't do it. And that's where it is right now with him.
Everyone has a very short memory. Justin Fields should be the second quarterback taken. By the way, where is his draft stock right now? I mean, there was a point earlier in the season, Stephen A., you alluded to it, where it was like, are we sure Trevor Lawrence is better than Justin Fields? He's had a few uneven performances, Justin Fields. He hasn't been perfect. But the fact is, what a short memory. You know why Clemson wasn't playing yesterday? You know why Clemson wasn't playing? Because Justin Fields threw 6 touchdown passes against them. He had over 400 total yards. He had, in a game that he had to be at his best, he played the best game of his career. Now, you mean to tell me because you can't beat Alabama, who some people are saying today, and they may be right, this version of the Alabama team may be the greatest college football team ever. And because you didn't win that game, all of a sudden, like, you may not be the second quarterback taken. Let's look at what Justin Fields, what is he? Does he have size? Check. Does he have an arm? Check. Can make all the throws. He has a strong arm. Is he accurate? Yes, he's a very accurate passer, actually, with excellent touch. He has arm talent. Can he move? Is he mobile? Check. He can run. What doesn't Justin Fields do? No quarterback is perfect at this stage. People complain, and I understand why, about like the internal clock in terms of how to deal with the blitz and all that stuff. Well, that's a lot of young quarterbacks. And even we talk about that, even older quarterbacks. I understand because Brady's not mobile. But it's like in boxing, Stephen A., when they say, go to the body, this guy doesn't like it in the body. No one likes it in the body. Of course, pressure on a quarterback is tough for any quarterback, particularly young ones. I'm not claiming Justin Fields is perfect. And by the way, against Clemson, and that came into this game, he had the hip pointer problem. The dude's in a lot of pain. He threw those 6 touchdowns and produced over 400 yards of offense in a rout against one of the major powers of college football to get to the championship game. He did that hurt, and he continued to play hurt in this game and made no excuses. Well, to me, Stephen A., it is very clear. I get why Trevor Lawrence goes first. To me, Justin Fields should be the next guy off the board.
Over the last in his 3 years at Ohio State, he's completed. I'm sorry, his first year at Georgia years ago, he completed 69% of his passes. Last year, he completed 67%. This year, he's at 70% of his passes. I get what you're saying, Max. I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just talking about folks who cover college football who watch it far more extensively than me and look at the 3 interceptions he threw against Indiana, the 2 interceptions he threw against Northwestern and passed for over like 114 yards, and that's it. They're going to use that because they say you have a short sample size. You know it. This is what counts. This is what you're measured by, and here's how you perform. And so they're going to look at those things. It's not to say that he's not a scrub or that he's not even a first-round pick. What we're saying is that when you look at Justin Fields, we went from comparing him to Trevor Lawrence and saying, are we sure Trevor Lawrence is number one, just for a brief second before everybody said, hell yes, he is. But we asked that question about him compared to Trevor Lawrence, to him not even being in the conversation, to all of a sudden the Zach Wilsons and the Mac Jones elevating their stock so much so that he went from a surefire number 2 to now being projected as the number 3 quarterback taken. Those kind of things can't be ignored. Somebody's holding something against him. It might not be Max. It might not be Stephen A., but somebody is holding something against Justin Fields because his stock has not elevated. It's dissipated, albeit to a small degree in some people's eyes. It's still going in the wrong direction. We can't ignore that with an NFL draft coming up, Max. We just can't.
Yeah, well, he has had some uneven performances. That is true. And there are some kind of pocket awareness issues that some people, he's not perfect. No one's perfect. I get it. Like Trevor Lawrence checks the most boxes, comes the closest to it. He's going first. A guy like Andrew Luck was like that coming out of the draft. But it's not like Luck was the greatest quarterback since that draft. He was very good. There have been others who've been better. And I would just say about Justin Fields that a lot of this stuff, take a guy like Deshaun Watson. Right? There were legitimate concerns by some, out of college football even, and evaluators saying, what about the intermediate passing game and this and that? But most people who watched Deshaun Watson were like, come on, come on. This guy looks pretty good. And that's what I'm saying about Justin Fields, Stephen A. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.